5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, how excited are we at this new attacking team that has suddenly been discovered? You know, who knew that there were two halves to a pitch? And who knew that if our players went into that other half that they wouldn't get nosebleeds? Well, look, the reign of Marti Cifuentes has started. And last season, he handed minutes to 5 teenagers at Queen's Park Rangers. At his previous club, Hammarby, in Sweden, he took the average age of the starting lineup from the 10th youngest to the 2nd youngest in the division. He arrives at Leicester then with a reputation for showing faith in up-and-coming players. Against OH Leuven last weekend, 12 of the 33 players Leicester City used had never made the league start for the club. We take a look at their chances this afternoon of actually making the main squad next season. We've said over and over again with all these recent managers always into the youth. You know, Rudel played the youth. Cooper won the World Cup or Euros, whatever it was, with the under-17s. He will play the youth. And we didn't. We didn't see. So is this a false dawn or have they got a really good chance of making the squad? Let's get on to it and let's talk Leicester. Oh, hang on a second. I thought this might happen. Don't go away, Craig. I know that you are here. Reese, while I'm just getting Craig in, talk to us about the game yesterday.
Well, I watched it all this morning because I was at the boxing last night, so I was catching up this morning, and I liked what I saw. I liked the intent of the team, how they wanted to press, how they wanted to get a lot of numbers forward. I like the shape of the team as well. I think it's well balanced. And again, Jordan Ayew popping up with another goal. I think he's definitely staking a claim to be our number one striker this year. Obviously, Patson Daka had another stinker yesterday. But no, lots of positive signs, but still a lot to work on. But no, only way is up. So far.
Exactly. Hopefully, Craig, I'm not sure just at this moment whether you're there or not. Hopefully you are. Let me just press another button. There we go, Craig. Good evening, sir. Or good afternoon, I should say.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You're back from your travels, Cliff Mitchell-Moore indeed, which, as you said, makes me Judith Chalmers, I guess. But have you managed to catch any of the games in between your travels?
Yeah, I saw yesterday's game. That's the only one that I've managed to watch. It was interesting. While I was away, I went to see Orlando City against Cincinnati FC. And I got to say, it was a sparse crowd, but they know how to put on a bit of a spectacle. And it makes our lone drummer in the corner look a little bit sad. They had a full 6. I think there was 6 drums, individual drummers behind the goal, plus a brass section, which is unlike anything I've ever seen at any other football match. But a great atmosphere. But yesterday, I watched yesterday. I think it's safe to say second half was better than the first. First, we looked like we were in control of the game without creating many chances and not many shots on goal. And second half, there seemed to be a pickup in the tempo and a pickup in the desire to get some shots on goal. So encouraging overall, I think.
Indeed. Impressed with the young, before we're going to do them individually, Reece, impressed with the youngsters that you've seen have game time?
Yeah, I was especially impressed with Will Alves yesterday. I thought he was very, very good, very direct, very skillful. He was good in tight pockets of space when he had loads of players around him, so he could dribble past them. Monga again, spectacular. I mean, he's making him look like. I mean, he did that little bit of skill on the touchline. I was just like, that's just an absolute mockery what you've just done there, little man. But no, like I said, let's just keep playing them. Get as many minutes as you can out of these guys because these are the future of the club. So yeah, really impressed.
They are. Anybody that impressed you, Craig?
Yeah, I think the two Reece has mentioned there, Alves and Monga. What I was surprised about Monga, it wasn't just his trickery on the ball. There was a couple of really nice passes that he played very early on. I think he saw a run from Thomas and played a fantastic defense splitting ball. So that was good. So that, there's more to his all-round game than just the trickery. It needs. Obviously, he's a young player, so he needs to know when and where to do it and when to lay it off. But I was a little disappointed that some of the players didn't get more time. I think, and some weren't there at all. Seemingly, whether that was down to the morning game being postponed, whether a few of them were slotted in to play that, I'm not sure. But I think everybody, Lewis Paige looks interesting as well. I like the look of him, and obviously England under-17 player, but by all accounts has turned down the initial contract that was offered to him. So be interesting to see how that plays out, because it will have to get to a point where he signs and gets more minutes, and I think that's what he's looking for, some kind of not a guarantee, but a clear pathway through.
Yes.
Because if not, if you're not going to sign, then you're going to have to get nudged out for people who are going to be playing next season. So it's a balancing point, that one. But I'd like to see more of him.
It's a good point because Evans and Alves came on and he had 22 minutes, Reece, and they were both hawked off. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of those that came on for Alves, Fatawu, I've got to say, wasn't it nice to see him back on the? I was about to say on the grass, but as I said last night, that's the wrong thing to say. But it was nice to see him back on the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought I didn't think he lost a yard of pace. I didn't think he lost a step, but he looked as sharp as he did before he got injured. So it was really refreshing to see. I was excited when he come on the pitch this morning. So no, let's like I said, let's hope he keeps his fitness up, keeps progressing, keeps that same intensity in his training, and build up that muscle in his knee, because it's a very, very nasty injury in ACL. So but no, it's all hunky dory so far. I'm not bothered about that. They only got 22 minutes. He's just figuring. I think he's just trying to figure out the squad and stuff like. They will get game time, because obviously we've got 2 matches coming at the same time as well. So they'll get minutes. Don't worry about that.
I think we've got one. Craig, we were saying one on Friday at 10:30 and one at 4 now.
Yeah,
there's been a few changes. Scott says hi, Chris. Looking forward to this show. Scott has been a great supporter of giving youth a chance. Welcome along, Scott. Terence said we're more than happy giving AU a go up front next season. Look, I would like another striker, because I don't think Daka is going to cut the ice. The Reed can do that, but let's hope he stays in Jamaica and can't get back in the country. And AU, I just think, can hold the ball up, Craig, and when we've got so many options if El Kanu stays or if he doesn't, McAteer, Fatawu, Mavadidi, Alves, all coming up behind. If he can hold the ball up for them to come on, we've got so many options.
True, but it was interesting. I was pleased to see one of the training sessions where it looked like all they were doing were trying to create opportunities to sling the ball in the box. I don't know if you saw that session. It was like a couple of touches out on the wide, get it out to a wide man and play the first time ball in. And then you've got shots of Mavadidi coming in, Ayew scoring or whatever. But there looked like a real desire to try and put the ball in the box. So from that perspective, I would like to see another striker come in. I think it's the one glaring area that you can see that there appears to be a weakness. In all the other areas, I think we're more than covered. I mean, I thought Ikoli looked good yesterday when he was on as well. So I think it's just that striker missing at the minute. Someone who's going to be in there in the box the whole time, because the players we've got, obviously Daka does, but his confidence just isn't there. And Ayew likes to drift out wide, so I'm a little bit concerned that we won't have anybody attacking the ball.
It's good that we're actually now at least getting the ball into the box.
Exactly. I'm going to say it was really encouraging to see that training session.
Just need somebody at the end of it. I don't know. Maybe somebody that got 14 goals in the Championship last season, got 5 assists. Maybe somebody that's not got a club at the moment, so it wouldn't cost us anything to sign him. Maybe like a Josh Windass. Who knows? But we're one of 4 being linked. But I've
got to say, I'm surprised at how many people think that's the answer, John. For me, that's treading water in the Championship signing for me.
Yes, but maybe that's what we've got to do. We don't know. We can't buy without selling.
I get that,
so
Chris, but what you end up doing,
get him in.
But what you end up doing is getting someone in on a 3-year contract who's good enough for a year.
No, well, that's the thing that I'm saying. I would say give him a year with an option for a second year if we don't go up, or 2-year maximum.
Players that you don't see players signing 1-year contracts now. It's not going to happen. I mean, I agree with you, Chris. I 100% agree. If we are going to sign him, but that's not going to happen. He'll want a 3-year deal, just to cover his own back. And he is not the answer. How old is he? 30 or something? Is he 30?
He is 31, so he is very much an AU type signing. But he knows where the goal is. He knows this division. In a very poor Sheffield Wednesday side, he got 14 odd goals.
He did, but I don't want to see 30-year-olds signing anymore. I want to see 25 or under now. We need to be building a younger, fresher team. Look at signing 30-odd-year-olds has done to us. Bobby Reid, I
agree, but we've got to cut our cloth accordingly. If we haven't got that money, and look, the club's come out and said we've got to sell before we can buy, then this is a free signing, no sign-on fee. No cost of getting him. He's out of work, so he could potentially be on a cheap wage. I don't know. I'm not saying that if there's other options available. What I'm saying is he wouldn't be a bad. And the problem is short-term deal, and as you said, that is the problem.
I'd rather get Callum Wilson, to be honest, even though he's injury prone.
Well. And how is he? No, he's free, isn't he? You're right. He's on the free as well. Injury prone. That's probably the guy. Then we'll sell. We only buy players that are injured. Let's be honest with you, Tom Cannon. Right, let's get on with this, and we'll go through. Now, I've called it the dirty dozen, or better by the dozen. But we're going to start with Will Alves, 20 years old. Now, don't argue with me anybody in the chat or anything, if you think that the positions I've put them down as their main and their backup positions are not particularly what you would think. I have gone off transfer market. So that's what I'm basing it on. I'm basing it on the internet, which is always a risky thing to do. But what they were saying about this player, Reece, with championship experience under his belt now, Alves seems a certainty to be in the City squad this coming season. It will be interesting to see where Cifuentes feels he is best. Coming through the ranks as a central attacking midfielder, Alves played wide on both flanks for Cardiff, and it's where he's featured for City pre-season. But with so many options on the wings, perhaps his game in the number 10 slot can be honed. The ball control and dribbling is there. Now it's about ensuring there's an end product to go with it. Your thoughts on Will Alves, Reese?
I like him. I think he's done his apprenticeship now, going on loan to Cardiff. Cardiff fans loved him. You know, I've got a couple of Cardiff mates, and they absolutely loved him. They said this guy's a real top talent, and I think he'd be in the starting lineup now if he didn't have that bad injury to his knee. But he still looks sharp. He still looks pretty much exactly the same from when before he got injured. I can see it being him or Monga fighting for that number 10 position next season if El Canous goes as well. I think he's a player that would suit Marti Cifuentes' side. He does. I think he will produce good numbers. I think Marti Cifuentes will pick this guy originally over Monga because of the age difference. I think you got to protect Monga a little bit. But I'd like to see this guy start. You know, I want to see exciting, skillful, young, talented players in the squad now. So I think that's the route we've got to go down. I think he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet for me.
What we'll do, Craig, we'll go one player each, and then we get through it. I know because I know you're tight on time. But Reese, I mean, he's 20 years old, so we've got to have a 20-man squad. But we don't have to, 25-man squad, which for some reason doesn't include goalkeepers. I don't get that. But it doesn't include, obviously, any under 21 players. So it's great that, you know, we've got all these options to come on. It's a 46-game season plus any cup games that we've got. These youngsters, you've got to say, maybe Alves is 20 now, so he's an adult technically. But the likes of Monga, if you are starting him, he can't play 46 games. I mean, he's still got his sort of A-levels to get through as well anyway. But he can't play 46 games, you know. So we are going to have to rotate the squad, which is great because we've got these youngsters who we can do it with.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good balance to play Monga against the better teams like the Ipswiches and the Southamptons, because I think he could do more damage in those sort of games. Whereas I think Will Alves, used to playing against poor opposition, would be better against the lesser teams like the Sheffield Wednesdays, the QPRs, and teams like that. So yeah, it will be good to see them rotated a little bit, because like I say, you've got to protect Monga. He's only 16, you know, he's still a baby for God's sake. But yeah, so.
Any Chef Wednesday fans that are watching, by the way, any comments made by Reese aren't necessarily those supported by Leicester Till I Die. Let me just cover that. I'm going to say that. He knows me by now, Reese. Craig, Jeremy Monga. Look, this is the one that everybody got excited about. We thought he might be leaving for Fields anew. We managed to, I suppose, if anything that Rude did while he was here convinced him to stay, because I'm sure John Rudkin didn't do that. 16-year-old winger, he's dynamite. Would not be surprised if he's in the starting lineup against Sheffield Wednesday. His footwork, ball carrying, and attacking intent caused no end of problems to Championship fullbacks this season. What I was impressed with, certainly on yesterday's game, he was like taking on 2 or 3 players at once. And when you got Mavididi doing that, he always has to do one more and ends up losing the ball. But Jeremy Monga didn't always do that. Quite often he knew the right time to pass.
Yeah, I think there was a few occasions where he overdid it. And so far he looks stronger down the right to me. But then you've got Fatawu coming back, so it's going to be tough to get in there. And I thought Mavididi played pretty well yesterday when he came on. What I would disagree with Reese is, at the minute, is Monga being a number 10. I think it's a bit early in his career for that, because a lot of the time, if you're playing on the wing, you get the ball and you haven't got anybody tight in around you. So you've got that opportunity to get your head up, see what you want to do, whether it's take somebody on, whether it's a 1-2 pass or whatever. You're playing in the number 10 role. Very often you're playing with your back to goal. And and you're going to be receiving the ball in tight areas. Now, I think he can do that, but I think at his age, he could get disillusioned when he's being more tightly marked without having that little bit of space that you get on the wing. So I think he's got all the capabilities of doing it. As I said yesterday, some of his passing was fantastic. Not just his skills on the ball, seeing runners, seeing Luke Thomas's overlapping run and playing a perfect ball through for him. He's definitely got that in him. I think just at this stage, I think it helps him playing out wide and having that little bit more space. But he's definitely a star in the making.
Yeah, I mean it's a good problem to have, isn't it, Craig? Like Mavididi, Pataru, Makatir, or Monga. We've complained about not having
this level, and I think this is. It's weird to say it, but I think for these young players, I think going down to the Championship is going to help them. They got more chance of getting minutes on the pitch. For us, I think, whereas you go into the Premier League and it's great. Monga hit the ground running, was great. If it doesn't go well, we've seen it very often. Alves, when he first broke through, didn't get that run of games to move on. I think in the Championship, the players are going to have that opportunity. So I think, while none of us wanted relegation, I think for this group of players, this could be very good for them.
Yeah, and like I say, if we do get that transfer embargo, which there's no talk of, and you'd think if we were going to get one, we're in the transfer window, you think we would have been told we were getting it by now. But look, you never know with the EFL, do you? Or the Premier League for that matter. So we'll see. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for these youngsters. Reece,
just before we move on, I know you'll probably bring him up later, but the alternative to Monga in that 10 for me, when you're saying Alves, would be Lewis Paige. I think would be the other one. So
he's coming up. Not next, but the one after next. So you can talk about in there. That's anybody that says we don't get together and plan this show in advance don't know what you're talking about. We don't. Reece, Jake Evans, meanwhile, 16 years old, says here a right winger by trade. He can also play left and centre forward. I mean, I always thought he was a centre forward. He's been playing in pre-season as an attacking midfielder. Whereas at age group level for City in England, he's been more of a box-to-box midfielder or deep-lying playmaker. Obviously, sorry, I'm talking about Lewis Paige there. Sorry. He's the youngest player ever to, you're talking about him then. He was the youngest player ever to hit double figures in the Premier League too. And so he very clearly has a goal-scoring knack. There should be space in the squad for someone with that kind of potential. But Cifuentes usually plays with one striker, and Evans, who doesn't turn 17 until late August, is not ready to be the starter up front, and maybe not the deputy there either. I mean, I would say, why not have him as the deputy, Reece?
I completely agree. I could disagree with that. What Leicester Mercury have just said there. I think he's got all the attributes and the qualities to be a striker. And you look at the competition we've got on the wings: Monga, Mavididi, Abdul, Makatir. There's five wingers pretty much ahead of him already. I think the club would like to convert him into just being, right, you're going to be a striker, you're going to be a future striker for the club. Because I do think he's got all the attributes in the modern game to be a good striker. He is 16 and he is going to turn 17 soon. But I don't agree with like people saying loan him out. I think this is the time to play them. You're not going to get a better opportunity to play these people because it's in the Championship. It's a worse league than the Premier League. So why not have him as the backup striker behind someone like Ayu? We can learn a lot from. So no, I disagree with the Leicester Mercury completely there.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in the Premier League, I think on all these players we'd be having a different conversation.
Yes.
And we would probably be saying, loan him out to a Championship club, give him some experience at that level with all of these. Well, we are a Championship club now, so he's going to get the experience, and we're better to get it than playing, proper competitive games. So, I think, like I say, whilst I want another striker in, if Ayu is the one to be, because I say Daka, I don't want to talk about Daka, then I think this guy could And I think both of those will actually benefit from Vardy not being here anymore, and feeling like the manager's feeling they have to pick him. But coming up, let's get on to Craig's favourite player. I wonder who that can be. Louis Paige, 17 years old, central midfielder. As I said earlier, in error, he's been playing in pre-season as an attacking midfielder. You may remember this. Whereas at age group level for City and England, he's been more of a box-to-box midfielder or deep-lying playmaker. He's got bagged twice against Peterborough to perhaps show he can play further forward. His confidence looks to be soaring too, and he was trusted to take set pieces despite only turning 17 this month. Go for it, Craig.
Yeah, I just think he's from obviously I've not seen loads of him, but from what I have and what I've read about his performances for England, he just looks like a real talent and almost one that's gone under the radar a little bit until this point. We've heard about Monga and Evans and Braybrooke and lots of others for quite a while, but this guy seems to have almost come out of nowhere. But those two, what I really liked about him is that nose for goal, and I've said this on many occasions. I don't think we've had a central midfield player who's got a nose for goal for quite a long time. You're going back to you could say Andy King did, but someone who's desperate to get into the box and get on the end of things, and he looks like that for me. The only issue I've got, and it's not necessarily, it's not one particularly for Paige, but for all of them, and we talk about whether they should all stay in the squad or all go on loan. If they're not going to get the bench because there's a limit on how many players can make the bench, or the first team, then for me, they should go on loan, because what you can't do is allow these players to stagnate. They've got to be playing now, and they've got to be playing at a certain level. So, you got your starting 11, and then, you're going to have a goalkeeper. So you got 6 players sitting on the bench. And we're going to talk about 12 players now. Chances are they're not all going to be getting game time every week in, week out. So I think you have to be selective on realistically who's going to get the game time, who's going to at least make the bench, because otherwise that progress stalls a little bit. And they start playing still back at the under 21 level. So it's a balancing act that they've got to get right, the club. Yeah. And luckily, Cifuentes, as you said right at the top of the show, is a guy who likes to give youth a chance. So it's a tricky one, but I think Louis Paige has got all the attributes from what we've seen so far.
No, it's a very good point. Even with the 46 games and the squad rotation and cup games, like you say, you don't want them stagnating. I just hope. Obviously, if we loan any of them out to another Championship club, they can't play against us. Yeah. But I would also hope that if we do loan them out, that they're on a deal where we can call them back if needed. Because I think that is, we did with KDH, didn't we? We were able to call him back. Unfortunately, like with Edward, we were stuck with him. We couldn't send him back.
Even down in League One, a lot of the quality of football is improving so much all the way down, through the league. You saw Birmingham City last season storm through there. So there are opportunities, I think. We've got one lad, I don't know if he's going to be in the list, who's already gone out on loan to Kilmarnock. So
no, he's not.
That's going to be, for his age, that's going to be a decent level playing up in the Premier League in Scotland. So it can help. We've seen it with the likes of Harvey Barnes, who had a couple of loans, Dewsbury Hall, who had a couple of loans.
Jason says there, the next KDH question mark.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes, 10 minutes off the bench in a number of games, is that better than going on loan and getting 70 minutes on a regular occurrence? I think these are the things that you've got to talk about. And it may be that that's part of Paige wanting some clarity before signing a contract. We know that the lad who went to Kilmarnock signed a new contract before he went. And that may be the route that Paige ends up taking.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I think this guy, and I mean this, I think Cifuentes is going to have this guy as one of the main players next season, because I think he's that good. in terms of that number 8 role, because he's got an eye for goal. I think he's got the all-round package, like you've just said, Craig. Like, he's got the all-round package. I think this guy, I can't see him go out on loan. I think he's going to play the majority of the games because I think he's that good. And I think it'd be that key to the system that Marti Cifuentes wants to play.
I'm going to play this. Yeah. I'm going to play this back in 50 odd weeks and we'll see what the outcome was. Tony says, sell Bilal and buy back KDH, who Chelsea say is available. I don't think we've got that sort of money. I don't think
it wants to drop to the Championship either.
Never go back. Never go back.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Right, Reese. Next up for you, Bode Aluko, 18 years old. Right back, centre back. It is admittedly just 2 games, but the way he's performed in pre-season so far, it feels like there should be a place in the squad for Aluko. He can play in both full-back positions and is now thriving as a centre back. While physically he looks ready, possessing strength, height and pace, he has shown bravery on the ball in dribbling and passing out of the back line and looks very promising. I mean, if you had a back 2 of Aluko and Nelson, I'd love that.
I'd like that as well, but I think it will be Nelson and Akoli to start off with, because I think that's a good balance between. But this guy, I think he's the all-round package for a centre back. He reminds me of, I've said on previous shows, he reminds me of Wesley Fofana, the all-round package, pace, power, good in the air, brilliant with the ball at his feet. I think he'd be kind of wasted as a fullback. I'd like to see this guy promoted towards being a centre back, because obviously we've got potentially Wout fast leaving. Yannick's come, obviously Yannick will be out. I hope so too, Chris. Connor Cody as well potentially. So we're going to be, there's going to be limited options there. I think if you convert this guy to a centre back, you've got an all-round package centre back there in terms of like how good he is on the ball as a centre back.
Totally. You didn't see, you didn't hear my language when I was going through the team yesterday, and we'd got Cody and Paige still in there. But look, I mean, first of all, Craig, before we move on, how did your trial as Cody standing at Glasgow Rangers go?
It went pretty well, to be honest. I got some very good reviews from players around me who likened me to Maldini. So I'll take that. I strolled through at the end and slotted one in as well. So, the all-round package, as you say.
As well.
Give youth a chance.
If anybody... and if anybody from the club is watching, get him signed up. He scored at the King Power. No, has he scored at Filbert Street or the King Power?
Both.
Oh, there you go. I mean,
we need a striker.
Yeah, we do. Get in there, Craig. I mean, I know Cifuentes likes under 25-year-olds, but if he's looking at Josh Windass,
it's all about balance.
Another option for you.
It's all about balance.
It is. It is.
To be honest, I'm in the right age group for the recent signings we've made. So,
I think you're stretching it a little bit there, but I get what you mean. Right. Craig, Michael Golding, do you remember him? Now, this was somebody we signed from Chelsea as part of the KDH deal. It was a bit of a, look, we know PSR, and I just want it over with, but it's a bit of a joke. They signed KDH for 30 million over 6 years, because it cost them 5 million a year. They then sold us Michael Golding for 5 million, which meant they got KDH free for a year. Not a bad deal. I wanted to see more of this guy last season. He said here he's still very young. He's only 19, in fairness. Yeah. There's plenty of time for him to show the potential that saw him rated highly at Chelsea. And a lot of Chelsea fans that I've spoken to, I've not heard a bad word about him when he did sort of pop up at Chelsea. It says here his first season at City was injury hit. Who knew? Who knew that would happen? But a consistent run of games and the development squad start making progress and push towards senior involvement. I think he has played senior just in a couple of games for Chelsea.
Yeah, he's just not been on the pitch enough for us to make a proper evaluation, and that's the problem. And again, a little bit disappointing yesterday that he didn't see any pitch time. And I say that could be because the morning game was cancelled. But But it's tricky, isn't it? Because you've got El Canoes, you've got Winks now back in the fold, as it seems, who's going to be like a Cifuentes type of player. You've got Skip started the game yesterday as well. Then we're talking about Lewis Paige. Sadly, some of these players are going to fall by the wayside. They're either going to have to go out on loan, or they are going to end up getting sold. I'd like Golding to stick around because I'd like to see what he can actually do. Yes. There's another player who may come up in this list later on who I think sadly his time may have passed, but I'd like to see him on the pitch in these next couple of games to see what he can do, because as you say, by all accounts, was really good at Chelsea, and when he first got here, I think he had a couple of outings and looked more than comfortable, rarely gave the ball away, which is unusual for a midfielder of ours. When you see the likes of Ndidi and Samare, I can't see what, Ndidi, if we get 9 million, I'm more than happy with that, to be honest, because I think, he needs to be moved on to allow these players to come through. And that's the big issue as well sometimes, that you have to move players on to allow your next phase to come through. So if
I'll quote two names at you: Gordon Banks and Peter Shilton.
Exactly. So for me, it's Samari and Ndidi. If we can move them on, then it gives these kind of guys a chance. If they're not going to get a chance, then they need to be at least loaned out to see what they can actually do over a number of games.
Reece, by the way, just to let you know, Gordon Banks used to be a goalkeeper.
I know all about him. He won the World Cup while he was a Leicester player, by the way.
I know. I'm sorry. Just say, you're a youthful person compared to us two old fogies. We're like Waldorf and Statler off the Muppet Show.
I know my history, though, Chris. I know my history.
And when you said Craig there didn't give the ball away, unlike a few of our midfielders, I think you actually should have replaced that with Sumare. And I have to say, on a personal note here, that I was very happy to see Skip and Winks playing together, because I thought it worked all right, to be honest with you. I may be out on my own there, but I've been wanting to see them play together regularly for a while. Played a lot of minutes each of them, but not necessarily together last season for long. So, I was quite pleased with it. Winks getting forward. Somebody said that, Skip didn't get forward. Well, there's no point in having two defensive midfielders and they both go forward. And I think Winks is naturally the more attacking of the two. Yeah. But we know he can score goals. But moving on, Reece. By the way, that's my bid to become Skip's next agent. just if you're watching, mate. Right, Jayden Joseph. 19 years old, right back or right left midfield. If senior fullbacks lead, then there's potential for him to make the cut for the squad, especially as he can play both sides. He's very attacking, is always looking to bomb down the flank, hence why he's played as a winger this pre-season too. We're doing a new show tomorrow, everybody, and I'll go into it more at the end. Talking Balls late night edition, and if anybody watched Late Night Leicester on Thursday on blue tinted glasses, you'll know that there was a slight altercation between Duck and Manny. I was having a bit of say banter with Duck about it, we're just giving it. But my God, Manny went for the jugular. I know, yeah. I mean, it went for it, didn't it? And so we will be talking about that. But Christensen might be going. Some people want Luke Thomas gone. This guy, he has got the potential to fill that, hasn't he? And if Ricardo gets injured again, and I think he possibly will, this guy in the squad, although he doesn't have to be in the squad, obviously, because he's 19, but he is a very good option, isn't he?
Well, this young lad is the one that Kingy absolutely raved about. They can play midfield. Oh crap!
Hello. He's not drunk, everybody. He's not. That was his computer falling, not Reece.
All right, my apologies. Sorry, stream. Apologies for that. No, but I think this is the guy that I think Andy King was absolutely raving about. Because he can play multiple positions on the pitch, he can even play holding midfield, centre midfielder. Yeah. And I think you need one or two of them around. And I think this could be one of the main utility players that we use in terms of an emergency situation. Obviously, it's good to have you've got your main position, but obviously, if you need to fill in a certain role, then obviously this guy can do it. Very, very good on the ball, very talented, I believe. He might be one that I potentially might look at loaning out because of the competition that we've got at the moment. But if some players leave, like JJ or Ricardo or Luke Thomas or Christensen, then I would keep him. But for now, he might be one I look to loan out just for one season, and then next season he can come back and slot in.
Chris Wall says there, JJ looks better as a left back. Oh, yes, he does. He does so much. And this is what I was saying. And Craig, who was with us last season, will know I went on and on and on about this. I can remember going to Southampton away a couple of seasons ago, and JJ had just come back from an injury, and he was played on the right, on the right back role. And I think that was the first time I'd ever seen him. And it was awful, but I put it down to ring rustiness because it was his first game back after an injury. But he isn't. I know he can play at that role, but he's a left back, and when he's playing on the left, he's so much better. So yes, Chris, the check's in the post. I agree with you 100%. Craig, I don't know that this is the gentleman that you were going to be referring to that's coming up, but this is one of the ones that we were raving about, along with Alves, before all these new youngsters popped along. Sammy Braybrooke, 21 years old, defensive stroke central midfielder. He's 21 now, so he shouldn't return to the development squad. He needs senior football, either at City or on loan. Because of his stature, there may be question marks over his potential in the senior game, but his tactical intelligence, his passing range and energy may make up for that. I can actually see this guy going out on loan again.
Yeah, it is the guy I was talking about. And it's a tricky one. Again, we've not seen enough of him. His loan move didn't work out great. I think it was Dundee.
He was injured, wasn't he, for a lot of it? Yeah.
So again, coming through, he was raved about. He was going to be the one. He was this central midfielder, playmaker, didn't mind a tackle, even though he was, slight of frame. But his vision and passing, apparently fantastic. But he's not been given an opportunity. So he's either got to get some serious minutes in these couple of friendlies that we've got coming up.
Or apparently he didn't go to Austria, Rice said. I didn't know that.
I wonder if he's being lined up for a move, whether it's a loan or a sale. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets moved on, to be honest, and I'll be sad to see it. But sometimes you've got to move people out to let the next one through, and I think Braybrooke may be one of those that just slips away, sadly.
I think for me,
sorry, carry on, please. Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. I think this is the only one that I would potentially get rid on a permanent deal. I think after the injury he sustained with Will Alves and him got injured at the same time. Will Alves came back stronger. This guy's really struggled, and I think that's really hindered his development, in my opinion. And he should be at that age where he should be pushing for the first team now, in my opinion. So I would potentially look to move this guy on permanent and get as much profit as you can for him. I think his time's passed, in my opinion, at the club.
I don't know. I'm just trying to look then whether he has actually gone to Austria or not. It's not. Having said that, Austrian. Do you remember Alexander Drakovic? He was Austrian. It's just brought that up because I've searched. But and Christian Fuchs was as well. So you can't have it both ways. But yeah, I think if he hasn't gone to Austria, as Rai said, then I think, I think it may be moved on. Unfortunately, I think it's just one of those where the injury came at an awful time, and other players will have benefited by his injuries. I apologise for the seagulls going mad outside, by the way. We do have a flock of them around here. That was a band, wasn't it, a flock of seagulls?
It was indeed. Yeah, can you do the haircut, Chris, for the next show?
But with that, come on.
Yeah, I'm sure in one of those shops down by the seaside you can find a suitable wig.
Well, the only wig I've got is my Vout Phase one.
Nice.
Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, I remember that. Bloody hell, fire. Right, Reece, next up for you, the goalkeeper, Stevie Basson. Now, we've been linked, and I've forgotten the guy's name. Who have we been linked with?
Begovic.
Sorry?
Begovic.
Begovic, that's it. Sorry.
Begovic. Let's just keep saying Begovic.
Begovic. Yeah. No, I did. You both said it at the same time. I didn't hear it properly.
It's Begovic.
Begovic. I can understand if we do get him. I think he's on a free as well, isn't he? And you do need 3 goalkeepers, and we are down to 2. Although it is quiet on Hermansson, but he's one of those that we probably could make money on, and there are Premier League clubs that have been sniffing around in West Ham, for example. So if he does go, I would feel very, very happy if Mads goes with Stolarczyk starting. In fact, I'd probably prefer Stolarczyk to start, to be honest with you, Reece. But this guy, probably not quite ready for first team yet, but with Berkovic in there, he could learn so much and move up, as indeed Stolarczyk has done.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people criticising the Begovic signing. I think it makes perfect sense. He's worked with Marti Cifuentes at QPR. It's on a free, it's low wages. I think it makes perfect sense to me. And then you've got an experienced Premier League goalkeeper.
And he's only 21, isn't he?
This guy.
No, Berkovic. He's only 21. He's a young player. We don't sign old players, do we?
I nearly bit then. No, but I think on a 1-year deal, I think it would benefit. But in terms of this guy, I like what I see. He did make a bit of a mistake in the Peterborough game, but as a young goalkeeper, he's going to learn. He'll learn. It's easy for a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers can go up to about 40 years old nowadays. So. But I think it all depends on the Mads Hermansson sale. I think if we keep Mads, I think this guy will go out on loan. Then we'll have Begovic, Stolarczyk, and Mads as the 3 keepers. But I think if we sell Mads, I think this guy will be the 3rd choice goalkeeper. Or even the 2nd choice. So I like him with both options there, either to stay or to learn, or to go out on loan and get game time. I'm happy with either or, but I think he's got a lot of potential to be a good goalkeeper for the club.
Yeah. Jason said that Berkovic in as a player coach. I don't know if we've got a goalkeeper coach at the moment. I don't know what roles, because obviously I think who was here before is probably, we know he's left because he's gone to Brighton as goalkeeper coach. Yeah. So that would be perfect, really, to bring him in, as they say, like a standing keeper. Who was the guy? I couldn't remember his name yesterday. It's my age. I keep forgetting names. That came from Chelsea when we won the Premier League. I hardly played, but he was
Schwarzer,
that was it. Yes, yeah. And he hardly played, but he was there, and you knew if he came on that you're pretty much as safe as pair of hand as you can get. But yeah, I think he has got a future. But I think he's as the number 3, whatever happens. I don't think he's ready for the number 2 slot there. Craig, this guy has impressed me so far, and that's Silko Thomas. His loan at Wigan last season was cut short by a knee injury that was originally billed to keep him out until early July. So it's maybe a surprise that he looks as fit as anyone in the squad, given how long he spent in recovery. There have been some bright moments up front in pre-season with his off-the-ball running, and especially with his goal against Peterborough, which was one of the pre-season goals of all time, I think. He's mainly a winger, though, it says here. So there might be too much competition there for him to get another look in and maybe another loanee.
I think this is a guy who needs to go on loan, because you say, he looks a bright spark. I know he got injured at his loan at Wigan, but I don't think he pulled up any trees when he was fit. To be honest, I don't think he did a great deal. But yeah, has looked sharp and bright in pre-season, and but there's a lot of competition, and I think a loan move. It's funny at 21, you've got to really believe that the guy's got a future at the club, to send them on loan. Because if not, then you just move them on. They get sold. So I think what happens to him, I don't think he'll be sticking around. I think it'll either be a loan or a move. At 21, you've got to be playing at some level. But if they believe there's a player there, and there looks like there might be, then a loan move for me would be the right option based against all the competition that he's going to be up against.
Amazing how a player's future can depend on who's in the team ahead of them, and of course injuries. Scott, look, if I could give you a prize, Scott, for having the best comment of the show, and I don't think this is going to be beaten, allegedly Daka is taking the goalkeeper coach role as he seems to have a knack of keeping the ball out of the goal. Yes.
That's brilliant.
That is the comment of the show. Well, great. Right. Tom Wilson-Brown. Now, I don't really know too much about this guy. His loan up in Scotland last season didn't work out as planned, so it may be that another is required. He's 20 years old, but he does have the benefit of being a left-footed centre-back, something City don't have in the senior ranks, and something that we probably really need, Reece.
Yeah, I completely agree. As soon as you said left-footed centre-back, my eyes lit up there, because there's not many centre-backs that have got a strong left foot, like Jareth Branthwaite at Everton, and Mark Gahey, they're very rare to come by, and they're actually good. So he might be one that I would loan out once more, and then pushing him in potentially, because I don't know a lot about him either, but if you've got qualities like that as a centre half, and he looks quite tall, he looks quite from what I've seen, he's quite fast as well, so he's got potentially to be a good package centre back for the club in the future. No, if the club see a future for him at the club, maybe one more loan. Is he in Austria? Is he in Austria?
No, he's signed a new contract till 2026, so for another year, and he's gone on loan to Kilmarnock.
Oh right. Well, hopefully, hopefully it works out.
Right. Or has he gone to somewhere else?
No, it's this guy.
Okay.
Well, fair play then. Fair play. The wise old owl coming back out again. But yeah, no, that will do him good. Like you say, a left-footed centre-back. My God, you nail them to the floor, don't you? I know you've got to go at one, Craig, and as it happens, this is the last one up. So, again, another one that I've not really sort of heard much about. Left back, Mirsad Ali. Only made a brief cameo at the weekend, and with plenty of senior players as well, as Aluko and Joseph ahead of him in the pecking order. A place in the development squad rather than the senior squad is far more likely, or like you say, possibly alone. He's 19, and he's young enough to do that.
Yeah, I'm going to say he kind of came out of nowhere, but apparently he is the greatest. So that's good. Again, it comes down to are they ready for first team football, and he may not be, and therefore another season in the under 21s is going to be beneficial. Because sometimes you don't want to push them too early into a loan move as well, because this guy has seemingly come out of nowhere pretty much to be involved in the first team squad and get some minutes in pre-season. But I think, we have got a few fullbacks, so I'm not sure. It sounds to me like what you don't want to do is totally empty your under 21 squad either.
No.
Then you're almost forced to push your youngsters ahead of time before they're actually ready. Some are, as we've seen with Monga and Evans or whatever, they're ready. Not everybody is physically ready or mentally ready to go into under 21s. So you can't empty that out. So they are going to have to make some decisions about another year's development down there in the development squad in the under 21s would benefit them. And this guy may fall into that category for me. Indeed.
I know you've got to go, Craig. Very last question to you. Seagrave, I know we did a show last season about was Seagrave a big white elephant?
Yeah.
and I have to take. I know it's not. Don't clip this, but I was wrong. I will never, ever, ever admit to that again. But no, in seriousness, it's like, when you plant flowers, they don't always bloom in the first year. And, it can take a few years for them to establish, certainly with trees. And I think that's it with Seagrave. We're beginning to see the benefits of the investment and the money we've put into it.
Well, you can clip this bit. I told you so. Because...
I don't remember. No, that one. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, because you've got to, the youth. It takes time to develop, and the number of years that we've had it, and people bedding in and getting the right coaches. This and when you think about the number of players and the age ranges in each of those sections, of the number of players in each age range, that's a lot of players, a lot of coaches, all bedding into a new facility. So it is going to take time, but I think the fact that you're seeing this many, that we've got a dozen to talk about as to whether they're ready for the first team, and there's probably another half a dozen that we haven't spoken about as well. So I think it will come good, and everybody's impressed. Cifuentes mentioned it, again when he came in his first interview about the facilities. The facilities can never be used as an excuse that we haven't got them, because we have. So they need to be turning in. And what we've also got to think is they need to be turning a profit. So some of these players who don't make it through, if they're still going because they've got potential, if you're getting a couple of million for some of these youngsters, as we've seen at likes of the academy at Man City and the like, they're selling players who have not really played in the first team for a few million quid, then that's good for us as well, because not everybody's going to make it through, so you've got to identify those that can, move on those at a profit. But I think we are starting to see the flowers from those seeds, Chris.
Scott said I should have a sound effect for the I told you so. All I will do, I haven't got a sound effect, Scott, but I have got a off-camera video of Craig when he said that comment. Very confident, Craig.
You got it.
Craig, I'll let you go because I know you've got plans. Thanks very much for popping on, and I will see you at some point. Obviously, all the shows are all over the place during the summer. Okay. No, right. If you can stay, Reece, sorry. Cheers. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Reece. See you soon. Cheers. Cheers,
Chris. Just do that, and there we go. And if you can just stay on afterwards, I just want a quick word after as well. I would say, look, if we do get a transfer embargo, and I don't think we're going to say pre-season because we're in the middle of it. So they could do it, you never know. So if we do, it's going to be January onwards. If we were, and stuck with is the wrong phrase, but if we had to make do with the players that we've got, and looking at some of those, and look, if we're stuck with the players, and there's going to be players that we can't sell, such as Pakova Reed, such as Sumari, probably, I don't know, Wout Faye seems to be wanted for some reason, but Vestergaard, then, we're going to have to be stuck with them, but not necessarily wanting to play them. I would be quite happy looking at some of those 12 that are there that say, well, if we didn't buy anybody, I wouldn't, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we did get a transfer embargo, we've got to look at it as potentially a good thing, so then we can bred these youngsters in and make them first-team players, and then you can sell most of them. Obviously, hopefully we keep them, but obviously we are going to have to sell some, like Monga and people like that. But you have got to look at it as making a massive profit on PSR, and then PSR will leave you alone for at least a few years. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, so so you got to try and look at the positive about these sort of things. So, but yeah, obviously it won't be, it's not ideal getting a transfer embargo, but obviously with our track record with transfers recently, I don't think it'd be a bad thing at all to get these youngsters in, and then it'll make the club rethink, right, let's go down this route more often. It's been successful, and keep using it to our advantage. That's what the academy's for, and that's what Seagrave was built for. So yeah.
Totally. Brilliant. Like I say, if you can stay with us, Reece, have a quick word afterwards. But everybody that's in the chat, Sunday lunch, I know it's a difficult time, but thanks for popping in. If you have been watching, please smash the likes button. If you've been watching it on catch-up, you can do that as well. And you can also add your comments in below. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but if it does, the outro will come up when I press this next button. If not, I will see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for Talking Balls. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.